Consumer prices in the Eurozone have risen at their fastest pace in the bloc's two-decade history. Inflation reached a record 5.1% in January. That's up slightly from 5% in December and much higher than what most investors had expected. The main culprit was the cost of energy, which rose more than 28% in the 19 countries sharing the euro. Core inflation, which excludes this volatile component, slowed to 2.3% from 2.6% the month before. This puts pressure on monetary authorities to withdraw pandemic-era stimulus measures more quickly. Cheap cash infusions from the European Central Bank helped the continent weather the economic impact of COVID-19. But now that's threatening to fuel price increases that eat into household budgets. Now, for more on this story, let's go to Zsolt Darvas. He's a senior fellow at the European economy think tank Bruegel in Belgium. Welcome to the program, Zsolt. Now, most investors, as I said there, thought inflation had peaked in December, but Europe just set a new record for January. What's your take on these new numbers?
So one reason for the expected fall in inflation was Germany, where last year there was a tax increase, and everybody hoped that when the impact of that will disappear, then inflation will go down. And indeed, a little bit it went down in Germany, but in all other countries for which data is available, inflation went up. And I think there are three quite obvious reasons for that. The first one you already mentioned, the increased energy prices, most importantly, gas and electricity. The second one is the stimulus packages, both the monetary stimulus and also the fiscal support that governments implemented to shield the economy from the adverse impact of the pandemic. And now, people, as we are coming out of the pandemic, people start to spend more and more. And thirdly, there are also problems in international trade. There are some inputs, semiconductors and other inputs are difficult to obtain. Also, transport became much more expensive, again, due to the pandemic and the various restrictions. So I think all of these three forces, at least for a couple of months in this year, will continue to keep inflation rate relatively high in the euro area.
Joe, now, can you tell us how the average European household is coping with these price increases? I'm sure the burden on their budgets must be getting hard to bear.
Indeed, the different segments of the society are differently impacted, and typically low-income households suffer more from higher inflation for the reason that the share of their budget that they spend on housing, electricity, and related things is very, very high. It's about one third, while the richest people just spend about 10% of their income on that. And since this is the most dynamic inflation factor, energy and gas prices, the poorest segments of the society is indeed affected the more. So that's why many governments throughout the European Union try to introduce various measures to contain the energy price hike for people. And, in some countries, price caps were introduced or tight regulations. These offer some help, but, the price increase already happened, and the poor income households already suffering from that.
All right, Zsolt Darvas from Bruegel in Belgium. Thank you for joining us with your analysis.